been quite the week with harvest here. Been getting up at about 4:15 every morning to get caught up on emails and some of that stuff that I haven't been getting to. Long hours, but it's been good.
There's one thing we've learned this year, it's that farming and agriculture can be a lonely endeavor. As we've dealt with social distancing and farms looking out for their team and family members, it's been hard to lose the social interactions we once enjoyed, the social interactions that farmers thrive off of. We start the spring after months of planning. We awaken into the nice weather and wait for soil and weather conditions to get right anxiously. Some of us with livestock and other businesses never really stop through those months, but a new year can be a refreshing feeling, and things don't slow down at all from there. We put the seed in the ground and make the transplants or start by raising the young animals with the hope of a future, but sometimes it can be hard to see our goals with so much work ahead of us and with lots of important decisions to make. We are always moving quickly through life. Science indicates that one of the reasons that time seems to fly when we're having fun is because our expectations are being exceeded from what our brain predicted was possible. And this change in perception of time makes you look back on days and weeks and months of work and think, where did the time to go? Another year behind us already. Sometimes we have these fleeting moments of joy in taking in the beauty of what we do, but it can be really hard to appreciate at times. Having other farming operations take a look at your business can help you appreciate what you've built or where you're hoping to go and help you realize that vision. In agriculture, we get really good at working in the business, but it's hard to work on ourselves and on the business. Being involved in a peer group with other farmers in diversified or similar industries gives us time to take a step back and look at our day-to-day decisions from a 30,000-foot view and think hard about what we can be changing in our business. How do we grow? How do we learn from each other? What is something that someone else is doing in this industry that I can apply to my business to help me get better today, tomorrow, and the next day? A key question that we have is, how do we sort out what we should be doing and what is most important to the future of our business? Taking 4 or 5 days out of the year to work on the business can seem like a real challenge, especially if you have families or other jobs, or there's a huge reliance on your critical role. However, I don't know many people that have ever attended a leadership or business development or education event and walked away from it thinking, man, what a waste of time. At least not one where you're surrounded by other people who truly want to be there and help take you to the next level. As seasons change, we get caught up in the day-to-day of what needs to happen next. Maybe you're in a new season of just starting your business, or maybe you've transitioned from the military and have been working in the business for a few years and need some help in taking the next step. Whether it's a financial decision, collaboration opportunity, a team or employee issue, or a new endeavor, peer groups can be a sounding board and a building block for where you want to take your operation. The beauty of learning from other veterans in agriculture is that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Even if we're trying something that is totally new to us, the friendships and camaraderie and the sound business decisions that come out of these interactions with peer group members can make all the difference in the world for where you're heading next. The other advantage is you are going to hear things that you may need to hear for your business and not just what you want to hear. As veterans, we are really good about driving home the point of this is what you need to do to take your business, to take your operation, to take yourself to the next level. And we will do it respectfully, but we're not going to mince words about it. We often weather the storms of our business alone, but what could be better than having a team there to weather it with you, to get through it together? As farmers in general, but also as veterans, it can be even harder to talk about what you're going through. We've been trained to work through adversity, overcome impossible odds, and bury any feelings of doubt or uncertainty because we have jobs to do, we have families to provide for, and we have team members to look after. But being able to open up to others if you need that and share what you're going through and have peers to turn to in the event of something negative happening or a downturn in the business can make all the difference in the world. Here today, you're going to hear more from Scott about what the peer group experience has meant to him and how you can become involved in one if you're interested.
These guys are as good as I am in what they do, and they are going to put trust in me, and I'm going to put trust in them, and we're going to build a relationship that is stronger than common ones in your local community because they're not in competition with you. They're going to be here to support you in every way that they can, and they're going to understand some of the problems that you have. Because they're going to go through the same problems, and it's really a support team. And then so the benefits of that then comes down to, hey, this is something that I do on my farm that works, maybe it'll work on yours. Everybody can bring something to the table and say, well, here's a little tweak that I found, and here's a tweak that I found, and let's take the next step and look at the future of cover crops and more no-till. Somebody might do a really good job in your peer group with that, and you've been wanting to go down that road. Well, now you have a source that you can trust who's going to be more than willing to help you in every way possible to understand that and do a better job at it. So the peer group to me means this year that, in the Bible, there's a phrase, iron sharpens iron. And in your life, you have people that help you on that aspect. But my opinion is my peer group for this year has been ironing, sharpening iron. We're all helping each other. We all genuinely care about each other. And to surround yourself with better people is going to do nothing but lift you up and get you to a level where you might want to be. On the mental stress of farming, I mean, it can be a very isolated job. I mean, you get to have those people that are in the fire with you, but that's the problem, is they're in that fire with you. To have the ability that you can connect with somebody that has their own fire, and to be able to just vent about some of the problems you're having. And right now, unfortunately, mental health is a big issue in the rural communities, and with farmers alone. And to have the vulnerability to speak out and say, hey, I'm feeling this way, can be very tough. But then to have maybe somebody in your peer group step out and say, hey, I've been feeling some of those same things too. Can we talk? Or, what did you do to help? Everybody's in their own situation. And until you break down the barriers and just, say what's going on, holding it inside of you isn't going to help fix it. So, as much as this has been a business prop and a way to grow ROI or to mitigate some type of threat coming down the road, it's also for, the mental health of being able to have conversations with guys to maybe look at a problem a little bit differently and go, oh, it's not so bad. This is how we can fix this. Or, oh, sometimes there's comfort in numbers, maybe knowing that somebody else also has that same type of feelings about things. And they might say, well, I did this to help me feel better. Maybe it would help for you. So I am personally in a position where I farm with my father, and not to put any generation into a pigeonhole, but the generation of my father was kind of more of a closed book, tight chested, and he did not see the value or the benefit of doing something like this. I have obviously gone against his wishes. He hasn't been as involved in it until I host to see this, but I know that you should absolutely join a peer group if you have the possibility. Even if it's only virtual for the few years. I mean, once you get to meet somebody and shake their hand and look them in the eye, I mean, you're going to be hugging everybody by the time you leave. And as we discussed earlier, you know, you're going to take away from going to somebody else's operation more than you can imagine. I mean, you just can't understand. The problem is we look at all of our neighbors and we say, oh, well, they're doing that wrong. They're doing that wrong. Well, like Chris says, until you drive 50 miles away from your place, you don't know what's going on. And everybody looks at things differently. And you're going to take something away every single year that's going to better you as a person, or better you as a farmer, or better you as a person in your community. So absolutely get with these guys, get with somebody, join a peer group, and build a relationship with somebody who's going to show the genuine care for you that you show for them.
So if you guys have gotten to this point in the presentation, you might be wondering, how do I get started on a peer group? What are the next steps for me? How do I make something like this happen in my community? And these are all great questions. There's a lot of awesome next steps that you can be taking personally. The first thing that I would say is, if you're interested in something like this, having a standard form to fill out on, what's my operation look like, who's involved with it, how long has it existed, what are my goals, what are some of my financials. That's a great baseline with something like this to get involved in a peer group. So typically that's where we start on our end of the business with the consulting and helping people and helping to facilitate some of these groups. So you might also be asking yourself, okay, well, with a peer group, how many operations are typically involved? What does this look like? We found that it's best to start with anywhere from 6 to 8 operations. Anywhere beyond that, when you start getting other family members or other people that are involved in the participation of a peer group, it can start to get real limited on the facilities that you have, starting to get that many people in the same place at once. So 6 to 8 farming operations is a really good point to start at with these peer groups. The other thing to keep in mind too is, with peer groups being all over the country, all different industries, It's good sometimes to have it in a central location, so somewhere that's easy for people to fly into, for instance, whether that's Minneapolis, Denver, Dallas, any of those places on the East Coast too, that you can get a conference room for one, or to actually go to their operation. So whether it's just an initial event with some of these peer group members, getting to know them outside of the virtual experience that they're having here on the Farmer Veteran Coalition Conference here for 2020, or even just figuring out who some of these people are and saying, hey, can I come visit your operation? Can I take a tour, see what you have going on there? The awesome thing that we have in the farmer veteran community is we are willing to share what we've done to be successful. We're willing to work with others in the community, and there's loads of good people and good information out there to help you get started in whatever your next endeavor is, or to help you improve in the business that you're in already today. There's a couple last thoughts that I have about this whole peer group thing. And one thing that's sticking in my head right now is growth happens just beyond your comfort zone. And if you can't tell by the office that I'm in right now, having the ability to overcome challenges, to reach out and have great resources and people on your team. I got my brother in there helping me right now put this video together after harvest, pushing real close up to the conference here. But we think that something like this is so important for this community and could be so beneficial, not only from the business growth standpoint, but the mental health standpoint, and looking at the difference that you can have. So I want you to think about that. If you have any inkling or any desire to even consider being a part of a group of something like this, please reach out to us. You're going to see our contact information here at the end. It'll be me personally that you'll be contacting. I am more than happy to take phone calls or emails or text messages or whatever works best for you while you're running your business or looking to get started, to help you with this process. I know that whether you're considering starting a podcast or being part of a peer group, or just taking that next step, there's tons of great information you've probably gained from this conference here. So please reach out to me. I'm more than willing to talk through anybody in this operation or anybody at this conference of what you may be going through and what you're interested in. So thank you for taking the time to watch the presentation, to watch this video. I ask that during this conference, if you have one action item that you can take away from it, if there's something that you can implement in your operation, focus on that one thing, one step at a time. I know you guys are going to rock it.